So Dave, every year the Auditor General of Trinidad and Tobago would publish the audited accounts for the financial years. And this year we have in our possession the Auditor General's report for the financial year ending the 30th of September 2020, which would have audited all of the expenditure of the government for last year basically. And the Auditor General made some findings relating to some of the COVID-19 relief grants, such as the food support grant, the income support grant, and also the salary relief grant.
Well, Saddam, for today, let's focus a bit on the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services grant. What the Auditor General discovered is that 75 persons received $330,660. Why? They registered twice for the food support and income support. And those 75 persons got 2 payments each of the food support and the income support for a total of $330,660.
And that means that those persons should have gotten either or, meaning they should have got the food support grant or the income support grant.
Correct.
Now, I found in the report while reading, Dave, that there are instances where one person got 2 of the income support grant.
Well, there was more. In a large number of cases, the same bank account number was used by more than one person. In fact, this happened 713 times, costing the taxpayer a whopping $3.2 million. For the income support grant, this happened 325 times. And for the food support grant, this happened 388 times.
And what was even more startling is the fact that the Auditor General could not confirm if these payments were properly made. In fact, these payments could have been what we call ghost payments. So therefore, for persons who applied for a grant and didn't get it, it's because someone may have gotten more than one of these grants, or in fact somebody may have gotten your grant.
So in a large number of cases, one ID card number was used by more than one person. What this means is that 3, 4, 5, or even 6 persons were using the same ID card to get a grant. And you know what? They got it.
And this didn't happen once or twice, but this happened 26 times. 6 times for the income support grant and 20 times for the food support grant.
Well, so you will remember that when it came to the salary relief grant, 7,000 persons applied and qualified for more than a year and are still waiting on the grant.
Now, I remember the difference between the both grants are that the salary relief grant, you required the NIB number in order to access the grant, and for the income support grant, you don't require that particular NIB number. Now, well, the Auditor General looked at this, and you know what she found, Dave? That persons who access the salary relief grant used an NIB number of 0 or sometimes 0000. They qualified for the grant and was in fact paid. And this happened not 1 or 2 or 3 times. This happened 18 times. And there are persons in my constituency who in fact properly registered for the grant with proper NIB numbers and are today still awaiting their grant.
Well, what that means is at least in 18 cases, persons who qualified for the grant and who applied and qualified for the grant did in fact not get the grant because somebody else got their grant.
And the Auditor General also found that those persons who in fact got the salary relief grant, there was no evidence that they were registered with the NIB.
So, if you got a salary relief grant, you should not get an income support grant because the criteria for application and for qualifying for both are completely different. However, the Auditor General decided to match both databases for the salary relief grant and the income support grant. Tell us, Saddam, tell us what she found.
Now, this is very, very frightening, Dave. The Auditor General found that 2,672 persons received both the income support grant and the salary relief grant for a total of $8.1 million.
That means that 2,672 persons were denied a grant because 2,672 other persons got 2 grants.
Now, the Auditor General report has highlighted these duplications relating to the salary relief grant, income support grant, and the food support grant. But she also found instances of irregularities in the other COVID-19 grants. And when one person is paid twice or given more than one grant, as you said, it means that someone who really needed this grant, Dave, was denied.
Well, this happened in 2020. How are we to know that this would not happen again?
And what has been done about this, because I'm sure that just like us, we had access to the report, both ministers would have had access to the report.
The multi-million-dollar question, Saddam, is, are these grants going to those who really deserve it?